What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Against All Odds podcast. It's been a while. Matt's been hard to get into this. But let's roll the intro and let's get started. Let's get right into it. Tell me where you're born and where you're from, all that stuff.
Yeah, so I was born here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I grew up basically in Mexico City. So I was born here when I was 2. My parents are missionaries in Mexico, so they took our family, moved us down to Mexico City, and basically I grew up there from 2 to 18, graduated high school, 18 years old, and then came back to the States, back to Tulsa to go to college here at ORU.
Okay.
So I was born here, but then it's difficult because people always ask me, like, well, where are you from? And I'm like, well, I'm an American, but then they're like, well, how do you speak Spanish? And I'm like, well, I grew up in Mexico, so it's hard because home is really, in Mexico, because that's where I grew up and that's where I go home. Like that's where my parents live and everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm from there, but I also consider myself like fully American, have an American passport and everything. And I actually don't have anything like, I don't have a Mexican passport or anything like that. We were just permanent residents, but like that's still like my home. That makes sense.
Yeah. And no, it's funny because the very first time I met you, when I was like here last year, like I was talking with you and like you had like a Tulsan accent, said y'all and said everything. And all of a sudden, next minute I hear you and you're speaking fluent Spanish to somebody. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
All right. And your name's Matt Rogers. It's like
the most American name ever. Yeah.
Like Matt Sheldon.
Yeah, seriously. People are like, well, how do you speak Spanish? I'm like, oh, well, I lived in Mexico for 16 years before I came back.
So what was your first language?
English.
Yeah,
so English because from when I was born until 2, it was just in the home English, and then even when we moved there, it was English in the home, and then everywhere else just Spanish. Like my friends in school, all that stuff was Spanish, and I went to like a school that had both classes in English and Spanish, so that helped too. Okay. But definitely at home it was always English, so that's my first language. But then Spanish was just as much because I was speaking it so much with my friends.
Yeah.
So.
And then you grew up in Mexico about when you started playing soccer, I'm guessing. Like,
yeah.
When did you start? Like age 5?
Even before, honestly. So we got there when I was 2, and then my earliest memories, like as soon as I got there, because that's all they do. So I was just right away introduced to the sport. Started playing with friends in school, kindergarten, all the way up to when I graduated high school. So that's when everybody does that there. Got there, and that's when I just started playing. Fell in love with it, and again kept going until college.
And where did it start? Like teams, or was it just in the neighborhood, like with your friends?
Yeah, neighborhood with friends. That's like my first memories, neighborhood with friends. And then first grade, I remember like vividly, like every recess, every boom, just go out and play soccer. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of just where it started. Grew from there.
When were you on your first team?
First team, so elementary school, just after school playing. It was more like, it wasn't really a league, it was just kind of rec for fun and all that. And then it became serious in middle school. Because like middle school, then it was like, okay, we're an official team, with, we're playing different high schools around, or middle schools around Mexico, and then same thing for high schools around Mexico. Because I never played club. Because in Mexico, when you're trying to like go pro, you go right away to like the big clubs there. Like America and Chivas or Santos, teams like that. They, have like their regular academies where kids start from, very, very young, and then they bring them up through the system, and then by the time they're 15, 16, 17, they're going pro. But that was never my story, because first of all, we didn't know anything about it. My parents didn't know how it all worked, so I just played in high school. Yeah. And then from high school, I went to like summer camps, like every kid does. So I came here in the summer, went to summer camps, and that's how I tried to get recruited for college.
Okay. And then, but like, so even though you weren't at like a professional academy growing up, like the level, I'm sure, is still pretty good.
Yeah, very good. I mean, super technical. Kind of is in Mexico. Is like everybody's very technical. Not as many, I would say, like athletes. Yeah. Especially when I got to like the States in college, it was just different. Like it was just a lot of athletes, but. Especially for me growing up, just a lot of technical on the ball. We'd play in the street, shoot between like 2 rocks to score goals. We just kept it.
And okay, and then so you're playing all the time with your friends. So you're playing every single day, probably.
Yeah, every single day.
Single day.
Reset, I was the first one out there. Reset. I remember that because I remember as soon as the bell rang, boom, I was the first one out there, and I just played the whole time.
Did you play any other sports?
Yeah. So I was doing a lot. I played basketball. I was on the swim team. I played baseball for a year, and then I played American football. Okay. But I was always so small that like for American football, I played like my freshman year of high school, and it's in Mexico too. So like it's not like especially in the States, it's like, okay, if you're playing on the like varsity team, you're like a monster, probably
Yeah.
gonna just like, it was just different there. Like everybody was pretty much smaller and I could play. But then after that, I was just so small that I stopped doing that. It wasn't even my passion anyway, so I'd stopped doing that. Played a little bit of varsity basketball, I think 2 years in high school. Enjoyed that, but ultimately like soccer. I just wanted to play soccer.
Okay, and then so your parents are. What are your parents' backgrounds? Are they both American? They're Canadian, isn't someone
Yeah,
Canadian,
so my
right?
dad's Canadian. So whenever, like, I have dual citizenship with Canada, even though I've never lived there.
Yeah.
Because my dad's Canadian, my mom's American, and they met here in Tulsa and then moved to Mexico.
Okay.
So it's funny because I tell people I'm North American because, like, my dad's Canadian.
That's smart,
yeah. My mom American and I'm American, and then I lived in Mexico.
Yeah.
And that's my home. So I go all three.
Yeah.
But I never have anything Mexican.
I'm just North American.
Yeah, I'm just North American. Yeah.
So that'll be good for you when the World Cup is here. Was that 2026?
Yeah.
And it's all in North America. You can just
Yeah.
go all through your different homes and family.
Exactly. And they're gonna play like Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, and I think there's a couple venues here. And then where were they playing in Canada?
I don't know
I think
where they're
Vancouver.
playing. Vancouver. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's sick though.
And that's where my dad's from. He's from Vancouver.
Oh,
too.
he's from
yeah,
Vancouver?
So I have family like right there.
Have you been to Vancouver?
Yeah.
I love Vancouver.
Beautiful.
It's sick.
Yeah.
Winters aren't even that bad compared to elsewhere in Canada. You know.
Yeah, I've only gone in the summer though.
Oh, yeah, summers are so nice.
Summers are so nice, yeah.
So you're going back. So you're coming back here in the summers and
Yes.
playing. How did you find the level coming back to American soccer after playing down in Mexico every single day?
Yeah. So, because for me it was like just growing up. Every summer we came back here, but I wasn't really playing because we'd see family or do whatever. And then my first time actually experiencing like college soccer my freshman year when I came and showed up to preseason. But the thing was, I didn't get recruited because it was just tough because I had just played high school, no clubs, right? And I went to these summer camps, but none of the colleges that I wanted to like go to were even interested in me because they'd never seen me play, and my videos were like bad. Like it was just tough to get good footage in high school. So what I ended up doing is I just came here and I walked onto the team at ORU.
Really?
Yeah. So I just it was a really funny story. I basically showed up one day when the team was practicing, and I like talked to the coach. I was like, "Hey, like I want to go here," and I'm sure he gets that like 1,000 times, right? Like how many coaches have kids like, "Hey, I want to play," you know? And he didn't know who I was, never seen me play. I didn't have good footage, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Like kind of just brushed me aside.
Yeah.
And that was in the spring of my senior year of high school, so I kind of had to make a decision. Like kids were already making decisions in the fall, right?
Yeah.
And I had still gone all the way to the spring, had not decided where I wanted to go.
Wow.
So I was like, well, I had two sisters that went there to that university. I found out they were D1, so I was like, okay, like it's in Tulsa. I have family here. It worked out.
Yeah.
So I basically, and I had no offer. Like he wasn't going to offer me anything because he didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So basically what I did is I was like, okay, I'm going to commit here and try to walk onto the team and see if he like wants me. So it's really funny. Fast forward to like that August, I like showed up and I literally saw the coach and I was like, hey, like I go here, like can I try out?
Did he remember you? Like
no, he was just like kind of like I think the assistant remembered me. And the assistant was the one I talked to, and he was like, hey, we're gonna have a trial in like a month, like come.
Yeah.
But like had no real expectation for me. Like it was just like kind of like a courtesy, like yeah, come to try out, whatever.
Yeah.
Like we gave you a chance and that's it. So anyway, same thing. Like a month later, I showed up to the tryout. And like 40 guys were there, like just trying out for the team, and two of us got the call back. So me and another guy, they were like, hey, but didn't even like tell us we're on the team. They're just like, come back for like another week to like keep playing, see if we like you.
Yeah.
Did that for like another week. Ended up being like 3 weeks total, and then they were like, all right, you're like on the team officially.
Wow.
So
when you were growing up and everything, like from 2 to 18, in your head it wasn't like, yeah, I want to be a pro. It wasn't like, were you even thinking like college soccer? I'm for sure want to play college soccer. You're like, I'm just doing this because I'm good at it. I like it, and it's fun.
No,
we'll see where it can go.
So whenever anybody growing up, like from 2 to 18, anybody asked me what I want to do, I was like, I want to play pro.
Okay.
But I didn't know, and especially living in Mexico, I had no idea how to do that. Because if you weren't playing in the academies, because these kids go pro at 15, 16, 17, right? I was so late to the game, and I didn't know how it worked, and we didn't really have connections, you know, that I was just like, well, okay, I'll just try to go college, because I figured that's what I knew that people would do, and then you can play from there. So by the time I realized I was probably freshman year of high school, I was like, okay, from here, I just got to play good 3 more years and go to college, and then see from there.
I see.
And then once I was in college, I was like, okay. And then I made the team and everything. I was like, okay, I can really do this. Okay. This would be the pathway for me. But I definitely knew growing up I wanted to be it. I just didn't know like how to even do it.
Yeah.
I had no direction.
Yeah. And it's hard because it's like, did your parents play soccer at all?
No.
Okay.
My dad played hockey. He's a Canadian.
Yeah.
Played hockey. Now he's just golf. Like that's all he does now. So no one really knew the sport or like how everything worked within the pro arena.
So, that was like similar, but I was American. Like my dad's an American football guy, basketball guy. Those were his sports.
Yeah.
And I just ended up going down the soccer route. But the same thing, we didn't even know what club soccer was in America.
Exactly.
Until I literally come home from school one day, and my mom's like, "You know club soccer?" I was like, "Nope." She's like, "Well, there's tryouts. Do you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" That was how it worked.
Yeah.
You know. But it was like that. But and then you had even the extra barrier of being in a completely new country too.
Yeah.
And then so I see that. So like your 14 freshman year, you're seeing kids in the academy signing pro.
Yeah.
You want to be there, but you already haven't played in the academy.
Yeah, those kids have been there for like 8 years already because they started so young and they know them. And then you're just like, wait, okay, I need to actually do that. But by that time, it's already too late. Because I was already like 15, 16 by the time I should be going pro, and I'm still playing high school. You know? But I was like, okay, well, at this point, let me just go college route.
Yeah,
so that's what I did.
And then how was, like, for those academy teams, do they have tryouts at the youth level? Or is it more like kind of like you need to know somebody to get, like, a trial?
Probably both. I don't have that much, like, even knowledge about it still.
Yeah.
But I would assume, like, yeah, you'd probably... if you started young enough and like had a trial and like you're an 8-year-old kid was good, they could probably make it. But it also definitely helps if you know the right people.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, I have a really good 12-year-old, you know, that can play, and they get you in.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of connections, especially in Mexico. It's like who you know, but. Yeah, it just never happened for me because we didn't have him. Like, my parents knew nothing about him.
Yeah.
And so
I always say, like, if my kid wants to go to the soccer route, he's going to be so much, more informed than me.
Even now, looking back, like, for college, because I didn't know what I was doing for college, is, like, how to talk to college coaches.
Yeah.
Like, I would send, like, 20 emails and be like, hey, I'm interested. Like, please take a look at me.
Yeah.
And never get a reply, right? And now that I've gone through it 4 years later and looking back, I'm like, okay, this is how you actually do it. You know, I could help, like, one day I could help my son and be like, this is how you do it. But I had no idea. I was, like, the first one to pave the way, and like no one knew.
Yeah.
So
even for me going into the USL route, like the very first year out of college, I was like, okay, okay, what's my first step? I kept on asking, like, what's my first step? But it's looking back on it, it's so funny. It's like that. It's crazy. But yeah, okay. And then so were you doing any, like, did you have like a one-on-one trainer? Did you do any extra training on your own, or was it literally just I'm gonna play on the street, play with my friends, and just do tons and tons of like 5-a-side?
Yeah, never once did I had someone personal train me. Like I literally every day from like freshman year to senior year was just practice twice or like 5 days a week, 2 hours, Monday through Friday, and then play on weekends, right? And then just practice 2 hours a day. But never once did like personal training. I honestly didn't even know it really existed. I didn't know about the world of like personal training until I got to the States.
I see.
Because there it was just like everybody just played for fun.
Yeah,
you know, like it wasn't like, oh, go train and get better. We were just all going out, playing at recess, and having fun. We never like paid somebody to like teach us. I don't know.
And it's funny because all the foreigners that I've had on the podcast, that's how it is. Brazilians, Johnny from Portugal, like everybody, that's how it is. In America, at the same time too, if I go out in my neighborhood and play like sports, we're not playing soccer. You know, it's like, oh, let's toss a football around. Let's play basketball, basketball and football. And then, like, other than that, we ride our bikes around. But nobody in my neighborhood played soccer except for me and my brother.
Yeah.
And so we would play one-on-one all the time. But you can only do so much 1v1, you know? And so then we would train and do extra stuff because it's just, it's not the same. Like, we can't go into my neighborhood and play. So it's like I'm jealous of that. But at the same time, like, I had a trainer that trained me from, like, 13 to 16. And then pushed me, you know? And I saw, like, opened up my eyes about that. But it's just different worlds. There's like pros and cons to both, but it would be cool just to step out and play 5-a-side anytime you want to.
That's good. Everybody wanted to play, so you just go out and play.
And it's the best thing too. You're inside, tight spaces, technical work. Like then you get to the big field and you have so much time and space, you know.
Yeah.
So then, so you knew you were gonna go to ORU. Like that's the school that because you reached out to schools, but you didn't get any replies because you didn't do it. You know, take the best approach. So you kind of like, did you like settle for ORU? Like, okay, yeah, I'll go here and we'll figure it out.
So what ended up happening, I went to like 4 different camps, and out of all those camps, like I did well and everything. One team in California offered me, it was like D2, but I was young too. I was so set, like, oh, I wouldn't accept anything beyond D1. Like, and at the time, I always thought like I just D1, right? but you don't realize that there's really good schools that are other levels. You find out later, right?
You can go pro from NAIA.
Literally, there's really good NAIA teams, but I had no idea. I was just like set, like I'm going D1, right? So in my mind, this is like 17-year-old me was like, okay, I got an offer from D2, like no, aside. Then I got an offer, same D2 in Colorado, like CSU Pueblo, Colorado State Pueblo. I was like, thank you to the coach and everything, but I was like, no, like I need to play D1. Still like dumb. And then that's when I came to ORU and I was like, oh, they're D1. Like I found out, I had no idea. I found out, and the whole thing was like I had sisters that went to the school, so like they were getting me connected to people, and they like helped me meet some different people. And I was like, okay, this is be a good school. It's in town. It's D1.
How many people go to ORU?
Like right now, probably like 5,000.
Okay.
It's a small school,
but decent size still. Like not,
decent,
not
like
too small.
Not super small, but still not compared to like your other D1s. It's still small.
I think UC Davis had 40,000 people.
Yeah, that's huge. So like small school, small community, everybody kind of knows each other. And I was like, I went on campus, did a tour. I was like, yeah, I want to go here. So at that point, that's when I just decided to go there. I had no like commitment from the coach, no like, hey, we got a spot for you. Just I committed and showed up and was like, hey, I want to play on the team.
That's bold too, to turn down D2 offers to go and try to walk on.
Yeah.
Because even then, like looking back on it, you might think, oh wow, that was risky. But at the time, you're like, no, it's gonna work out. Like, But yeah, I mean that's bold to turn down.
Because I put all my eggs in one basket, because I was like, if they would have said no to me there, I had no other options. I would have had to like de-enroll at ORU because I still wanted to play. I would have like had to find another school. But at that point, who's gonna sign? Like it's already August, right? And it's like mid-August. Everybody's had their preseason games.
Had to wait until
another year, which ended up happening to me because I didn't know about NCAA clearinghouse.
Oh.
Because I was in another country. I had no idea how things worked here. So then I get here. They're like, yes, we want you on the team. But they're like, have you cleared with NCAA and all this stuff? And I was like, I had no idea what you're talking about. Like clearinghouse? Like what is that? So then that ended up costing me a year. So I redshirted that freshman year. So I got there, was on the team, but I couldn't play. That I learned through that experience too. Ended up, funniest story is like 4 years later, it ended up like helping me because I was able to like do grad school and finish out my last year of soccer. So I got an undergrad and grad degree in 5 years. So I was there 5 years, and it ended up working out for me.
That's funny you said that too, because like for me, like because I came in freshman year and I started some games and played in every single game, and like at the time I was like, this is awesome, I had so much success. But then I had to drop out of school early to once I was done, I was like, okay, I need to go, and at the same time, like I didn't even get my degree, and then got your grad degree. And it's also too, like looking back, it's like maybe I should have, instead of having a season as an 18-year-old freshman baby, if it would have been better to have that year as a 22-year-old like experienced player. But okay, so that's crazy. So you go into ORU, you're talking to the coaches again, you get the trial, 40 players are in, only you and another guy make it. Did the other guy end up signing for the team too? Because you said 2 players got called back.
He did.
Okay, so
yeah,
both
so
of
he
you
and I
guys,
both ended up on the team that year.
Was
he was a year older, so he only played 1 year,
okay,
I think, if I remember right. Either 1 or 2, but I still had 4 years of eligibility.
Yeah.
Because he was actually, it was weird, he was like a track athlete, so he had already used like 2 years of eligibility and then switched, so... But he was there 2 years, and then I was there. I had 4 years.
Okay, so then after your freshman year, you redshirted. How did your career go the next 4 years?
So then from there, that spring I was eligible. So that spring I played almost all the games. Came back that fall, and from there was like I played in almost every game. Was like starting by midseason. I was like starting every game. Had like earned my spot and everything. And then I spent like 2 years. Playing for like starting and all that kind of stuff, and then my last 2 years I got the call. I was captain my final 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was just I worked my way up, and I just like kept grinding every year, coming back, and ended up playing like I had a good career. Like played my 4 years, started like most of them, probably 3 out of the 4. Had a good career. And
you played right mid the whole time?
So I was right mid, forward. And like sometimes center mid, but not often. Mostly right mid and forward. I never played right back or left back.
Yeah, because I didn't say your position, but you're kind of all over the place here too.
Yeah.
But you've played here on this team. You've played right back, left back, defensive center mid, right mid.
And
played
left mid.
Left mid too.
Yeah.
So you played every.
everywhere except forward
Uh-huh.
and center back.
How was going from college being mainly attacking position to now? I mean, last game you played right mid, but you've mainly played more in the fullback position.
Yes.
How was that like transition from that?
Big transition. So, because in college, only one time I had to play left back because someone got injured and they were like, we were man down. So for like 20 minutes, I had to play left back. And I remember that moment. It was in conference, like a conference final. So it was a big game. And I was like, whoa, this is different. Like seeing the whole game from back here. I've never seen it before, right? And that was the only time they moved me out of there. Played 20 minutes, like 4 years at fullback. And then I got here, and they were like, right away I was right back, left back. And it was just completely different. On like so many things that I had to learn, like even just like stepping with your line, and as soon as we like ball goes up, like everybody steps,
and then you look over and the whole line's
because you're so used to like you don't really like
there's no like that
because you're especially like right mid, you're kind of just free and like you're gonna press the fullback or whatever, but just staying connected and moving with the four was tough, and then like the diagonal ball that you have to deal with because you're like shifting over, staying connected, diag comes and it's like as soon
as you see that defender start to like look over, you're going.
Dude, exactly. So that was a big adjustment, and then just like the speed of play too from college to pro was just like you have no time. Like it's a one touch, you're moving it or you're gonna lose the ball.
And then so talk about that from you went from ORU and how old were you? Because when you first were into ORU.
So I graduated high school, turned 18, and then went to college. So I was kind of old for my grade. I'm a 93, so I was kind of old. And then I went to ORU, and I was there 5 years. So I graduated at 23 from grad school. I finished everything, and then I had a break there because I worked full time.
Okay.
Before I went pro.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, so basically,
so you graduated, and in your head, because you said that you wanted to be a pro.
Yeah.
But so did you?
Okay, so
I'm not gonna talk.
No, you're good. So basically, what happened is my last year, I had a full semester left of grad school. Like, and that would have been it. Like, I just have to finish this semester in the spring to graduate in grad school. And that fall, I had finished my senior year, so I was done with soccer. Basically, I made the decision instead of going pro then. In January, like most people would, like you finish your college career, like try to go to the combine or do something, right? Play USL or whatever. After a conversation with my dad and everything, I decided to finish out that last semester of school. So instead of going pro, I stayed in college. That was the hardest semester of my life because you do like your final project for grad school is this huge project or whatever. That one and other classes were difficult. So I just stayed there and grinded out. Didn't play for like 6 months, right? Because like that whole semester didn't play. Graduated, right? Because I really wanted to graduate with my MBA. I knew that if I left, it would be very like it was nearly impossible, or like I wouldn't ever go back and get it. Like kind of like you're like you know what I mean? Like you're so close. And that's a lot of guys are like that too. Is like, man, they're missing like 3 classes, but it's they're doing their thing.
Because I haven't took a class since 2014. And it's 2019.
Yeah.
And I don't have any plans of stopping anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
I knew that I was like, okay, if I can just finish out the semester, we'll see what happens after that. Because I had no options either with like pro. Like I had no connections really. I could have probably gotten them from my coach. Like my college coach could have helped me. But at that point I had talked with my family and I was like, okay, I'm going to finish out, get my MBA. So I was like, okay, I grinded out that semester, hardest semester of my life, even without playing soccer.
Yeah.
Finished in May. And at that point, it was like, okay, well, season's already rolling. Like, USL is already going, MLS is already going, like, all this stuff is already going in the U.S. And I had another conversation with my family, and I was like, this opportunity came up with this job. In town, the company's called Hilti. It's basically, like, they sell power tools. Great company, right? So I had a lot of friends that worked for them, and they were hiring for, like, a sales position. And honestly, I was just like, sounded like an awesome opportunity, a lot of money, like all this stuff, like sales. So like, I was pretty good at it. It went with my major and everything, so it made sense. And so I remember a specific conversation with my mom where she was like, well, if you go here, like, what about playing? Like you could do this, you could play. And I was like, no, like I want to, like at the time it was just like, okay, it's a lot of money. It's a good first job. Yeah. Definitely like a resume builder. Yeah. I was like, I want to do this, at least for now. So basically I took the job. Started in August. So I graduated in May, started in August. And yeah, I was doing that full time. So I was basically like an 8 to 5 desk job. got there. Great company, great people I worked with.
Yeah.
But that was August of 2017, and I worked there for like my first 6 months. It was just great. It was like a great experience. Like, loved the company, the people I worked with, and everything was doing really well. Like making sales, all this stuff. And at some point, like I was still playing, like Sunday League, you know, or like indoor, like Soccer City, all that stuff. I was still playing, and in the back of my mind, it was still like, wait, can I like still do this? Like, can I still go play, right? And I like still had the desire to do it, but I was like, well, I have a really nice job, like I'm making a lot of money. Like, do I really want to do this and give all this up to go play? And I had no direction if I wanted to go play pro. Like I had no connections. I didn't know people, anything. And at some point in April of 2018, I went home to Mexico. I was just there with my family for a little vacation, and I had like another conversation with my family. I was like, well, like I just told them, I was like, I think I want to quit my job and try to go play pro. And they were like super supportive. I thought they were going to be like, no, like you can't, like your career's taking off. Like, because the thing was the company wanted to promote me. Like they wanted to.
It was going well.
It was going really well. Like they wanted to send me, they basically move you to a place and they promote you and you can make more and do sales and all that stuff. Yeah. And they wanted to send me like to Florida. And I was like, I was really close to taking the position, but I was like, look, I have a window that I could play. Yeah. Like I have to take this opportunity. That was in April. But still, I have no plan, no idea how to do this, right? Yeah. So, like, a couple months roll by. I'm still, every day, I'm showing up to work. And at this point, it became, like, redundant. It was really just an 8 to 5. Like, I was sitting at my desk, and it was just, I was doing the same thing kind of over and over again, right? And I was like, okay, I was made for more than this, right? And so I basically took, like, 2 more months, and by July, okay, so that year I actually went to the World Cup. So that was 2018. That was last summer. Yeah. A couple buddies and I like saved up and went to the World Cup. Okay. In Russia. Yeah. So in June I go to the World Cup, which obviously again sparks my like. Yeah. Against the World Cup, you know what I mean? And because I already in April in my mind I hadn't told anybody except my parents. In my mind I was like, okay, I'm gonna quit and go pro, but I didn't know how to do it. So then I go to the World Cup. Amazing experience. Got to go to like 3 games in person. Watched all the ones. I got to see Mexico beat Germany. Wow. Like in the stadium, like Mexico jersey on, like thousands of fans screaming. It was insane.
One of the best experiences. Mexico is over the U.S. or
so
when they play each other. What's your gut?
Okay, so this is my answer to everybody. This happens my entire life. This is what happened to me. I literally tell them like, who do you love more, your mom or your dad? Because that's how I feel. Yeah. Like literally, I love both countries. Like deep in my heart. So I literally cheer for both of them. So then when they play each other,
in your gut, you're not like. You're just rooting for that guy to score a little bit more.
No, they're literally like the same to me. Wow. Okay. Like people in college would always make fun of me because when they would play each other, like Gold Cup or whatever, I'd wear Mexico jersey one half, US the other. I swear, like I
Do you have one of those?
Yeah. No. Like I would take it off.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
we
should get one of those that are actually.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But dude, I love both countries the same. They both like. Oh, anyway, so
because I've talked to some players that are like that, born in Mexico but lived their whole life in the U.S. or something,
like one way.
And like their gut is like, no, I literally have tried to root for the U.S. and I can't. I have to root for this. Or someone's like, well, that's funny. You're literally truly a North American,
truly split like everywhere. You know what I mean? So I literally don't know how to answer the question. But anyway, that World Cup, U.S. didn't make it, obviously. Yeah. So I was just full on my Mexico gear. We win the game, amazing experience, and then I come back. So that was like mid-June, come back to the States, still doing my job and everything. And I was like, okay, like I had made the decision. I just needed to like bite the bullet and let's do it. Yeah. So I was really scared because my bosses had been great with me. I was really scared to just tell them like, look, like this is what I want to do. I want to like quit here and I want to go try to play pro. And because I thought they would be so disappointed in me because they were going to promote me. They had been talking about moving me, all this stuff. I was just scared to tell them that. But I was like, look, I know what I need to do. So I went up to them and I was like, look, this is my plan. It was July 9th, 2018. I guess don't remember. And I told my boss, I was like, look, this is what I want to do. She was like, that's amazing. Like, super supportive. She was like, I think you should do it, all this stuff. And I was like, wow, man, this is the right decision. Like, let's do it. So 2 weeks later, I put in my 2 weeks then. 2 weeks later was my last day. I said bye to everybody. But you got to keep in mind, I still had no connections with anybody. Yeah. So what I ended up doing is one of the guys that I played with in college is Wayne Farmer. Okay. Went to ORU, and he got hired as the GM of the Roughnecks. So I basically, in a short message, reached out to him, was like, hey, like, this is what I'm trying to do. is there any way you can get me a tryout with the Roughnecks? Because that's the only team I knew, and I knew I wanted to play for them.
Yeah.
Because like USL, good level. I'd been to tons of games, over college career. I was like, look, I want to play. Is there any way you can give me a tryout? And my last day was, like for Hilty, was a Friday. I texted him on Sunday, and Sunday night he texted me back like full week schedule, like, hey, come, this is our week schedule for the Roughnecks.
Were you fit?
Like, come on trial. So funny thing is that I had been playing Sunday league, so like just 7v7 outdoor, right? That Sunday, the same day I texted him, we had a final for our Sunday league. But after, because I was trying to get fit already, because I knew I was trying to go play. Yeah. After the final, like I just run a ton. I did like sprints, like 15 sprints. I was dead, right? I was dead tired because I was like, if he answers, like I want to be able to go. So that was a Sunday. I do sprints and I'm dead tired. He texts me, he's like, come to practice Monday. The very next day, I show up to practice, right? And the Roughnecks had played Saturday. And on Monday, for the guys that hadn't trained or hadn't played, they did fitness. So I show up dead tired, and my first day, like with the pro club, they did fitness. And I could tell you exactly how that session went. They started us on, it was the the big like the turf field. It was just the turf field, and they were just doing like sprint, jog, jog around the whole field, like big distance for like, it was a timed. It was like 15 to 20 minutes. And it was my first session, and I was already dead tired. My legs were so sore. Yeah. But I was like, whatever, I sucked it up.
How were you, like middle of the pack? Were you able to?
I was middle. I was middle. Yeah, I definitely wasn't.
Because
like,
the good thing too in mid-season, a lot of players, like that aren't starting, don't give 100% effort. Yeah. So you could probably like.
And that's just something everybody was like, go slow, go slow. Yeah. I'm like the one guy on trial, like thank you, like in the back, not talking to anybody. And they're like, yeah, go slow, go slow. So I definitely just stayed middle of the pack. I didn't want to be last, obviously, but I'm not gonna be the first.
You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. Like try hard and then everybody hates you. Yeah, and it's your first day. Yeah. So I just stayed middle of the pack, did my thing, head down, right. And then from there, I basically spent 2 months on trial. The first, it was great. Like, got to know the guys, super nice. They're all friendly. Basically, I just spent it was basically August, so about a year ago, last week, on trial until the end of their season. And basically told them, like, look, I'm looking to play. Had talks with the coaches. Season ended. Went on a long, and that's when I met you last year, because remember we were both on trial.
Yeah, because I came like first or second week of September.
Yeah, and you were there for like 5 to the end of the season. Yeah. So I was basically just there 4 weeks before you, and then finished out the season, and 3 months of off season and everything, and then came back and signed.
Yeah, and then so how was training? Like you said, the level, it was fast.
Yes.
How was the first week of training with them? Like, did you feel like you're like, so right in here I can do this? Or
so as soon as I got there, what they needed a lot was like fullbacks. Yeah. And that's why I jumped in at right back, because I was just trying to, anywhere where they needed me, I wanted to like go out there and obviously play. So because
in a trial you have to fight for any minutes you can get.
Literally anything. I wasn't gonna I was just gonna take anything they gave me, right? So there was times they were just like playing a game, they're like, hey, we need a right back, like go, and I would just jump in because I'd played right mid. And I could defend, so I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And that's how I started. That's when I first started playing fullback, and that's when I started learning, okay, like high level, like I need to learn this quick. But it was good. I mean, the team was really good, in my opinion, like good players and everything. Didn't have the best season, but ended up playing with them for 2 months at a high level. Definitely got better, definitely got more fit after that. Started playing more right back. Then they'd be like, hey, we need it left back, and I'd go. Literally, I was just utility. Like wherever they needed me, I'd go. Like I'd go forward sometimes. I remember I'd go right mid. Right, like I was just wherever they need me, I want to play. So I just did that. But yeah. Yeah,
and like because like some people are like, oh, I'm only gonna play.
Yeah, like I'm only gonna go. I'm like, you're on trial.
You gotta
just
get on the field, because if they can see you as like a good outside back. Like, what happened to you? They're like, yeah, we'll take you for outside back next year. But, like, if you can play a good fullback, he's skilled. He's doing well. What's his real position? Oh, he's a right mid? Yeah, let's test him at right mid. You have to get on the field just to show what you can do.
That's exactly.
Like, I'll go, because I've been on trials where I've played center mid, center back, like, jumped in anywhere. And then they see, they're like, oh, he can actually play. And then the coach pulls me aside and goes like, so what's your actual position? And I'm like, oh, I like to be on the outsides, like outside mid, outside back. And then they'll be like, okay, let's put you in your actual position. And then they actually take a look at you. But yeah, it's smart. You got to get on the field. You got to do something. especially because you get some like, some dick player that is out there, and you try to be like, hey, let's up, and he's like, no. And
Exactly.
and then you don't get any minutes.
Exactly, because if you're like, oh, I'm only gonna go right mid, you will literally not play because that right mid's not gonna move.
Yeah.
So anywhere they needed me, I was like, boom, I'm there.
Yeah.
So I just play.
And that's why, because I was talking with Ivan Mirkovic,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, can I come and just train? Because I just came back from New Zealand. My season in New Zealand finished up end of August.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I don't want to have a 5-month off
Yeah.
season. So I was like, hey, can I come and just train? And he's just like, yeah, we actually need fullbacks. Like, we don't have that many fullbacks. I was like, perfect. So then I came in, and that's where we would always remember, it was like one of the mats like play fullback.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, hey, one of the mats go.
For the
and
second
then you'd
team.
be like, okay, you go this time, and I'll go the next time.
Yeah,
and then we'd switch. Remember? We used to do that.
And the next day, then I'd be like, I'd start, and then you go second half or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that. And then so off season. So season ended for them right when playoffs started. So it was like October 15th or something. Their season was over. How was your first off season as a pro? Like, what'd you do? Did you just stay and train?
Yeah. So basically, what I did is season ended right, and I basically that's all I was doing really, was just playing, and then that was my first experience of, wow, okay, after 12, like I have a rest of the day kind of off kind of thing, so I wasn't working anywhere. But from then, I started training. There's just like this local guy that his name is Alex. He works at Titan sometimes. He does like the little trainings. We would do sessions with him and have college guys come in because they were just finishing up by like November, December. A lot of college guys were just done with their season, just for winter break or whatever. So I basically just trained that full 3 months, doing whatever I could. And I actually worked at the same time because I was like, okay, I have a lot of free time, so I'll just...
Back at Hilty or?
No. So, Hilty told me that when I left there, they were like, hey, you're welcome back anytime.
Okay.
But that's definitely more of like a full-time position.
They don't want you to come back for 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. They're not going to hire you back for 3 months. So basically what I did, I found a job just hanging Christmas lights. Straight up. I knew a friend of a friend was like, hey, this guy needs help. Like, go out there, decent pay. And I literally showed up and I was like, hey, like I'm here, I can help. After I train in the morning, like I have the rest of the day, whatever you need. So they start in like October. So literally like that week after the season ended, and I was already starting to train again, I found the job and they were like, hey, come help us hang Christmas lights. Okay. So I literally would go train in the morning, in the afternoon, and go hang Christmas lights all over the city.
Wow.
And then, that's all I did. And decent money, and I had to do something.
So that was going to be my question too, because like you left in July. But like since you were training, like you didn't get paid. We didn't get paid when we were training with the team. So did you have money saved up too? And you just obviously you're in living it like home, I'm guessing, right? Yeah.
So basically, my final check, because I was doing sales at Hilty, so they do bonus and everything. So I made a really good bonus, and I basically lived off my bonus for those months. So from July to November, I had no income. I was just living off what I had made, and then from there I started working. I had income again, but it was like
it's hard.
2 or 3 months where it was like nothing was coming in, and it was just going out every day.
I remember when I was same thing. My first year out of college, I didn't even get a real job or anything, but like I lived at home, and then once I got opportunity at Sacramento Republic, and they basically said, look, we need training players to come in, step in wherever you can, utility player type thing. So for all of 2015 season, they're like, just help train with us. We'll cover your expenses. It was pretty much my gas. Play with our semi-affiliate PDL team, But like I wasn't making the money the whole season. I think I got like $1,000 to cover gas, and then so like I was living on the mattress in my friend's kitchen, flipping up the mattress. I was like coaching, doing a couple of sessions and have that, but I'd be having the Fruit Loops in the morning, and then I'd be like, okay, maybe I can get Chipotle this week, and like it's a grind, but like it's good. It's like the only time in your life that you can live like that and go for something. And then so you're training all off season. Did you, because we kind of talked a little bit, did you have like all your eggs in this Tulsa Roughnecks basket? Or
yeah So like I said, in July, same thing with college. I had no idea how professional, like everything worked. Like I had no connections with anybody except that Wayne was my connection at the Roughnecks, and it ended up working great with him. He was able to give me the training schedule and everything. But
let's go back. What would you have done if he would have said no, you can't come in?
Exactly. I literally would have tried anywhere else, but I had no. You
would have just started cold calling, cold emailing, and see.
I would have probably. At that time, I probably got an agent, been like, okay, what are my real options? Because I knew a real option was like, hey, the Tulsa Roughnecks, like I could play for them. But I would have had to figure something out. But definitely, 100%, I had all my eggs in like this. I hope, like, I want this to work out. Like, I want to play for Tulsa. I felt like lived here, you know, a long time, I was born here, all this stuff. So I knew I wanted to play here. But had he said no, that text be like, no, you can't come. Like, I don't know what I'd done.
Yeah. You probably would have found a way to work, but it would have been a lot of work, extra work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in off season, similar thing, huh? You were like kind of like, because did you reach out to any other teams and like?
No. So I had talked. Yeah, I did. I told you. I remember preseason. I told you.
Yeah, we talked about this.
So I literally, season ended, had a conversation with the coach, and he said he was very interested, right? But you know, like that doesn't mean anything. You know, they're trying to.
No matter even the most honest coach in the world, some stuff can come up. You know.
Yeah. So. But he was very clear. He was like, "Hey, I'm interested."
Yeah, Mike's up front.
He was super upfront about it. So he was like, "Look, I'm interested, but right now we got to figure out some things because he was interim coach because the other coach got fired, so he needed to figure out his situation." He was honest with me about that, which is great. So then from there, he was like, "Look, I'm interested." I was like, "Great," and then I basically it was really funny because I kind of went on like he said, I'm interested, but I never gave him any of my contact info, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of, in a weird way, was like bluffing because I was like, I'm just going to train, and if he said he's interested, like, he might reach out to me. And he actually, the last time I talked to him, he said, I'll reach out to you.
Okay.
Right? But I didn't give him any of my contact info. So I was like, if he somehow gets my phone number, like, he gets my phone number. Like, he said he was going to reach out, and he's a man of his word, right?
Yeah.
So I kept doing my thing, kept training for, like, there's 2 months, like, I heard nothing. And I was just, like, in the dark.
That's a long time.
2 months, yeah. I was just in the dark, training every day, working, hanging Christmas lights, like, doing my thing, not knowing that, like, okay, if that call's ever going to come. So long story short, by the time December hit, I got a text from the coach, and he was like, hey, I want you to come to the combine. And at that point, I was like, yeah, great, like, I'll come. Yeah. I was kind of, like, expecting him to more reach out, like, I saw me right away, which would have been great, but he was like, hey, I want you to come to the combine, which I thought was fair. Like, need to see me against other players. And so that's what I did. That was in, like, 14th or 15th of January. So I had trained just so hard, like I'd never trained before, because I knew, like, this is my shot, right?
Yeah.
And basically trained for those 2 weeks, showed up to the combine, and then from there was, I want to say 100. There's definitely more than 100 players, probably 100, 120 players that showed up. We did it at Titan, and it was just like 2 or 3 day thing. I can't remember. And then from there, played really well, did my thing, and then after that, I finally got signed. He reached out and contract and everything, and so. And
that was your first pro contract.
First pro contract, yeah.
How'd that feel? Like, what were your emotions going through that when you?
Yeah, so I was in the airport. I was with my family. We were going somewhere on I think it was Christmas vacation. We were going somewhere when I got the call that he was going to offer me a contract, and at that moment it was just like so happy. Yeah. Like I have, there's a video. My mom took a video. She was so happy, and I just hugged my family and everything. But the timing is weird. So he called me in December, told me that he was, like, going to offer me a contract, but then he was like, look, just come to the combine and then we'll see. So it was like, even after that, it was kind of like, well, I don't know.
Nothing's for sure.
And then for sure he called me after the combine, and that's when he offered me a contract and everything. And that's when I celebrated and everything. Great feeling. Like, I was just in my house alone. No one was there, and I was just smiling. Like, I was like, oh, I really did it. Like, it's going to happen.
Did you feel like it was like finally like a...
Yes,
like cute relief.
100%. I was like because if you would have just been like, look, like, we can't sign you or anything. I literally had no plan. Like, I probably would have spent another year trying to find a team.
Because at that point it's end of January, right?
Yeah, like everybody has already either signed their players or like, because preseason's about to start. Yeah. Right. But it ended up going good for me. So he called me, sent the contract that day, signed it, and.
Yeah, because that's what everybody has said about their first pro contract. To everyone. Of like it's amazing feeling you're happy, but especially for me the first time it was like just like such a weight off my shoulders,
just a relief.
Like a relief of like, God, about time. Like, I've been working this hard this long, finally, you know. It was I always expected to be like this huge surprise, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, you know. But it was more of like, it's about time, like. Yeah,
because mine was from. I mean, I showed up July 29th.
Yeah.
That was the first day that I went to train. And I didn't sign my contract till January 15th or 16th.
Yeah.
So it was all that time of, like, grinding every day, working hard, like, months going by of not knowing, like, in the dark, and then finally being like, he's sending the contract over today. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like finally.
I think the best part is like finally being able to, when someone says, so what do you do? Like to be like, I'm a pro soccer player. That was my favorite part.
That happened to me when I was, the first time I went to get a haircut. And you know how they do a little small talk?
Yeah.
What do you do? I was like, I play professional soccer. And it's like that feeling like, oh wow, like it's really, really true.
Because before in that time, like I had a long time before I signed my first pro contract like that too. From the minute I dropped out until I signed was like over a year. And so like it was the same thing. People would ask me like, what do you do during that time period? And I felt like I was lying if I said I was a pro soccer player because I hadn't signed a pro contract.
Dude,
so I kept on being like, well, I finished school. I'm trying to go pro, but it was like it just doesn't fit. It was like hated that.
Exact same thing. Because those 6 that from July to January, like what are you doing? And I'd be like, well, I used to work at Hilti. Now I'm trying to go play pro.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you signed or like, and
why aren't you a pro yet?
Yeah. Like, wait, when you're not pro, and it's like that gap where no one understands that like you're just on trial. So I would just tell people like, yeah, I'm on trial with the Roughnecks. Like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And sometimes I would hate it because it's like, you know how like that vision that you get, like, yeah, I'm trying to go pro now, and it's just like that kid who's nowhere near actually going pro.
Yes.
But he's like trying to do, and I didn't want to be that kid.
Dude, yeah, so true.
Yeah, it's funny. It's all very similar. So then, okay, so you signed the contract, you come in, and then that's the season. Then how was your first signing the contract before the season started? You went through preseason with the Roughnecks. How was that preseason, and now how's season been?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Because it happened so quick. Because the combine was like a 3-day thing, middle of January, and preseason started like January 22nd.
Yeah,
like you got here right, like
I got here the 21st or 20th.
Yeah, we had that weekend before we had just played, and I was playing like back-to-back 90-minute games.
Yeah. Because I remember the first day that we were like coming in, you're like, I'm still sore. Like,
I was dying. I was so sore. Like my hamstrings were so sore. I went back to back, and then he finally signed me. But I had no rest, like, and then they were like, okay, right into preseason. So that honestly was tough, and especially like at the high level and everything. And I had to think about it. I hadn't been playing for a year. Like I had just been playing Sunday League, so that was tough. But I like adjusted, I guess, well. And then it's been great from there. Obviously, like, team came in and everything, met everybody. Went through the preseason. I thought it was good. Like good games, you know, got some time. I feel like everybody does, you know, everybody gets some time. And then by the time season started, I like had to grind my way through a little bit still, you know, because especially because your first year, you're rookie and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that like just because you're a rookie you won't play, but it definitely is. You have that like you just got. You
just don't have experience.
Yeah, you just don't have experience. You're just like, okay, this is my first year. Like I just got to grind it out. So especially when like the season started, like I wasn't getting that many looks or chances. And I was just like, back of my mind, same kind of thing. It was like, look, just do your thing, show up every day, and like good things are gonna happen. And then by the time, I think my first actual game was the Open Cup game in like second week of May when we played Austin. It's like that's when I first got minutes, and then from there it was good. Had a good game and kind of went from there. Got more playing time, kind of built trust with the coach and everything, and then I've gotten more looks since then. Yeah,
because that's the thing. Any player coming in, it's the trust. It's like, okay, you know, especially for someone who's like on the first pro contract, it's like, is this guy going to get a red card in the box? Like right in the final minutes, is this guy going to do this? Is this guy going to, you know, slip up on this play? So it's like little tiny things. But yeah, it's first season is good. Like, and then so obviously we no idea. People always want me to ask is like, what's your plan for next year? But like it's like I know, like as a pro, you know, you can't play in more than a week. I don't even know who we're playing after this weekend. I know we have Monarchs this weekend, and that's all I live my life week by week by week. But I'm guessing for off season you'll be in Tulsa training. Same thing. Yeah, same thing.
It's true. Like you don't know because obviously I signed a 1-year contract, and it's like. It's just up in the air. 3 months from now, no one really knows.
3 months from now, you could be re-signing to come back. You could be getting an opportunity over in Sweden. You could literally, it's crazy. It's a crazy experience. And then so I'll finish this off. I'll ask like 3 questions that I always ask everybody. But number 1 is, what was the absolute best moment of your career? Like if you could look back on everything, is there one moment that really sticks out to you?
There was one moment that I always remember. Okay, I'm gonna say 2.
Yeah, no rules.
I got to no rules. Right?
No, only one.
I got to play. So in high school, being in Mexico City, I got to play in the Estadio Azteca.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the biggest stadiums in the world. Mm-hmm. In our league for high school, we made the final. Got to play there. That was definitely a highlight. Just walking into the stadium and seeing like
it was packed too, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I had 100,000 people. Yeah, probably like my mom, my dad, like 3 or 4 people. So we got to play there. That experience, like. Just hands down, a stadium that size with a club that plays there is one of the most known clubs in Mexico. It was amazing. So that, and then I would say, fast forward to college, my college coach and I was like amazing, like definitely like a role model for me, kind of like a second dad, you know. We were playing Eastern Illinois. So we were in the Summit League, or he was in the Summit League, and we were playing a big conference game against Eastern Illinois. And I'll never forget this memory. So I didn't even score the goal. Like one of my friend, Tarek Nichols, chopped a guy in the box. It's overtime. Or I think it was overtime, or like dying minutes of the second half, something like that. Chopped a guy, finished back post, and we go to the corner and like dog pile, and all I remember is our coach sprinted from the other side all the way and jumped on our dog pile and like celebrated with us. And I just remember that moment like so vividly, and to see him like celebrate with us. One of those memories I'll never forget. That was definitely a highlight in my career, and then obviously like getting signed. That was great. But
that's good. And then now, the flip side, what was the darkest period of your life, like the worst in your career, where you're like, man, I'm gonna quit? Did you have one of those moments?
Definitely not in college. I definitely, like 4 years of college, I was never thought like, oh, I just need to quit. I'm done over this. And I never really had injuries that, I never had like an ACL or something where like I broke a bone that like a lot of times bring guys down. I never had that. So I was kind of blessed there. But if I had to think of one, it was that period where I knew I wanted to play, but I was in a situation where I couldn't because I was working full time and I had no direction on how to get there. That frustration of being like, you know you have it in you, but you have no idea, and you look forward and be like, how do I get to that place? I can see it from a distance, but I can't get there. That feeling was tough for sure.
I know that's like a recurring theme in your life is like to just not know how to do it. You know, like you literally, it's like sending just a kid, just here we go.
Yeah, no one did it before me, so it was just like thrown out there deep end, and you're like survive, and you do it.
It's worked out.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah. All right, and then the last question I have, if you could go back, let's say you could go back to any time in your life to younger Matt in like a time machine and give him a piece of advice, what would be one piece of advice that you would give him?
Oh wow.
I got good questions.
Yeah, these are good questions. One piece of advice.
And you can think too, like some players like to go back to like when they were in high school. So I've had one go all the way back to when he was like 10. Some just go back a year ago or something. Like whenever, sometime in your life that you think that you would need, like, or help him out or something.
That's a really good question. It's because I think for me in my story, because I went from like walking on to college and then basically walking on to pro.
Yeah, that's what it was, pro walk on.
Basically what I did. Basically what I did. Yeah, it's just like I had no direction, showed up, and then they took me. You know, like I did that in college, and then 5 years later I did that pro. I would say in those moments, because there were so many doubts and like just not knowing, kind of like the theme is just not knowing what's next, and just trusting God. Honestly, I would tell, because there was times I just doubted and everything, but I knew that there like ultimately there's a plan, and you know the Lord had something better for me, even though I didn't know it. So I would just tell myself, and especially kids that are 16, 17, like you have no direction, but just trust, and like, it's all gonna work out.
Because religion's a big part of your life, right?
Yeah,
and your family's.
Yeah, so my dad's a pastor, my mom's a pastor. I grew up at the church. They started a church in Mexico. They're affiliated with the church here. So yeah, it's always been a part of my life. And so definitely for me, it was like just trusting the Lord, trusting God that there's a bigger plan and that He had it all kind of figured out, even though I couldn't see it. Because I couldn't see it. I would look and be like, I don't know how to do this. And now looking back, it's like, look how He took me every single step of the way, and now I'm here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, and then anything else? Last thing that you want to say or anything?
Something I always tell, I got a couple weeks ago, I had a chance to speak to a group of middle schoolers, and I just spoke to them about following their dreams. And so I just tell people, a lot of kids that maybe listen to this, or even older people, like, it doesn't matter. Like I was 25 years old when I went pro,
Yeah.
Like, that's not ideal. Like, most
yeah.
kids are going pro 10 years before that, right?
Yeah.
But I knew that deep down it was something that I wanted to do, and I had always said I wanted to do it. So I would just say, like, hey, follow your dreams. Like, do that thing that's inside of you. And something inspirational for me, too, is when I quit my job. It was a really good paying job, and I had to quit it to make nothing for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, like, not one of them, like a lot of them were like, "What are you doing? Like, you have a really good job, all this stuff." But one of them specifically was like, he told me, he was like, "Dude, there's things that I want to do, like, but I just can't give up my job right now to do those things that I really want to do. Like, I'm kind of doing this job that I don't want to do, but I can't give it up to do my real dreams." But he told me that, like, I was an inspiration for him. That he was like, "Man, you actually did it. You actually, like, walked out on your job that you didn't really want to do. I didn't have a passion for, and you did what you would love to do."
Yeah.
And that, when he told me that hit home, and I was like, "Yeah, I did do this now."
Yeah.
Now, like,
because it is cliche to be like, "Oh, follow your dreams," but it's like I always say that, like, and a lot in my videos all the time. It's cliche, but it's so true.
True.
You know, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And like the risk, yeah, it's risky, but like looking back on it, it's so worth it. Like, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather make a lot less now and play than be at a desk job 8 to 5 and make a lot.
And that's the same. Like, I was an applied mathematics major at University of California, and like I had one semester and I was going to get my applied mathematics degree, and like I was looking into going to like being an actuary or doing something like accounting or something, but like it was the same thing. Like, I was like, yeah, I could make great money, but like I was like, I just imagine trying to sit down and imagine my life every single day doing that. And I was like, I would rather make zero. I would rather pay, and go in debt and go after this. And that's what I always ask myself. Like, even now when I have like tough times, I'm like, okay, well, what's the alternative? You're going to quit. Would you rather do a normal job, or are you happier here doing what you're doing now? And every time I'm like, no, I'm pretty happy doing this, But that's awesome. So great. Awesome, Matt. Thank you for coming on the Against All Odds podcast. Absolutely. Finally, I've been trying to get him on for 3 or 4 weeks now. He's a busy guy. And then, so I hope you guys like this one. Hit the thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Spotify or iTunes, I don't know what to do. But just subscribe or do something. All right, guys. Peace.